are you, CJ?
I'm good. Um, it's kind of an emotional, like bittersweet, right? Like we're already at the end of our journey with the 50 Inspirational Project, and I try not to be as emotional, but I have learned so much from my connections about this. And then, of course, our next project is the Global Summit, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more later. But really, um, this is such an inspirational journey for me and very like I don't even have the words for it to encapsulate how I really feel about this project. I mean, do you?
I can't say no. I am the gifted backbone writer. I mean, that's just not gonna come across cool at all. But you are right. It's been quite an experience, and I could probably talk about it for days and days and days. Uh, it's definitely changed my life, and I know it's changed the life of 50 other people as well. And when I came into the project, that's what I hoped would happen, and I really do feel that is what happened.
Yeah, I did not know the outcome of the project. I knew that I had to do it based on my mission, which is to level up the world through education. And education just means educating in this sense, educating what each individual who showed up for the project, what they're all about, and what is near and dear to their heart that they're willing to actually let us know their
Hmm.
story and what inspired them to keep going and what it's all about to be them and to get to know them, right? Because, we have so many stories in our lives, but we don't ever share them or even think about sharing them. And so for them to share a sliver of what inspires them or what keeps them going is such an inspiring, but also like, wow. It's like a wow moment, right? Do you
Yeah,
have questions for me?
I do. Um, I do. Well, it's up there, so I guess I'll just read it. What made you think of doing this project, CJ? Um, and how does it fulfill your vision? Because we conceive an idea, we put it into action, but we always expect an end result. And yeah, answer my question, lady.
What made me think of this project is really a lot of things, but mainly my podcast, my live stream. I there's so many behind the scenes and the hours that I put into my live stream has been so much, right? And people don't see it, they only see the end results, but the preparation, the marketing, the interviewing, the coffee chats before, the live stream, and then the LinkedIn event, and then the marketing again to get people in, and then creating the YouTube and the banner and I mean, like I could go on, right? But I thought about it and I said, wouldn't it be so cool if I could? It took me, I'm still on episode 79. That means one of the episode is mine. So that means 78 people I have talked to individually in the last year and almost a year and a half of this journey, right? It only took me 78 people or 78 people. And I said, wouldn't it be cool if I could inspire my community, 50 people at a time with their story all at once? What would it look like? I have no idea what would look like. And literally, when I did that, I was actually half asleep taking a nap in between my class. And I sat there and I literally chump it the way in 2 hours. I had all the frame, the PowerPoint, and everything. And I'm like, who inspired me? So I had to look myself. I'm like, who inspired me to do this project? And I thought about you when you shared your story. And I said, wouldn't it be so cool if I have Nicole, who's really have an inspiring journey here on LinkedIn, right? And get to know other people, but her leading with me. I wonder if she said yes. And then we actually went to a little bit of a project already. And I know that you're really good at keeping time task on time task. And I said, okay, I'm gonna ask her. I had a lot of people that I could have asked. People actually gave me flack for not asking them, and I said I had my reasons why I had to ask Nicole is because she inspired me. I always think of like who actually inspires me to do certain projects, and you did, and I'm glad you said yes. But then, has it fulfilled my vision? Actually, it exceeded my vision and expectations because I didn't and couldn't imagine how people are DMing me and thanking me for highlighting them because it's always them highlighting other people. And it was their turn to be heard, to be seen, to be valued, and to share their story here on LinkedIn and in YouTube and the international arena with my audience. And so inspired by everyone's story, and I'm so grateful you said yes. Right? I mean,
That's um that's powerful that you thought about how can you accomplish what you just did, this enormous feat in the last year and a half, but with 50 people at once. What an incredible vision. And obviously, it not only panned out, but like you say, it exceeded your expectations. I'm thrilled to hear that. Um, there's no doubt that somebody like yourself inspires everybody you come into contact with. And when I started this project, I definitely was not as visible as I am now. And I'm still coming to terms with the fact that people see me as an inspiration. And in one day I will come to terms fully with that. So that you saw me that way means a lot. I mean, now we're sisters. I can't say we always were, obviously. When we first met, we didn't know each other to this degree. And this project has helped us to come to know each other so much better. So I'm glad that you gave me the opportunity to do this with you. Not in the sense that you didn't choose anybody else, but that I was fortunate enough to be able to work on this project with you. So thank you for that.
you're welcome. My turn to ask. What inspired you to start this project with me, and how has it evolved from like, yes, I'll go ahead and do it, never really thought about like what it entails?
When we honestly first talked about it, I thought that you were going to say, do you want to be one of the people featured on 50 Inspirational? And again, that would be something that would still be something for me, like I said, to come to terms with. But asking me to spearhead the project with you blew my mind. I certainly didn't see myself in this space. I took the lead with myself to own it and say yes. Just you're putting yourself out there, Nick, in your bipolarness. You're putting yourself out there very real and very raw, and you have to step into these roles and you have to walk your talk. And I did what I do best. I just jump in feet first, and thank God I didn't. It wasn't shallow and I didn't break the other leg. But
Almost did.
but it has evolved beyond anything that I imagined possible. You think people are gonna come and share, because that's what you're inviting them to do. But you take away so much more than just 5 minutes of that person's. I mean, what is 5 minutes out of your whole life? And I've often thought of the stories beyond those 5 minutes. And now I've gotten an opportunity to know some of these people beyond that 5 minutes. And it's really eye-opening. It's eye-opening, and I guess really and truly leads me into my second question with you, if you don't mind. But I know that people have reached out, as people have reached out to me. And I want to know from you, what is some of the feedback that you're getting? Yes, people are happy to be highlighted, but there has to be more. There has to be more that people felt that they got out of being able to put themselves out there, right? Because was the first time for a lot of people, and they said it on their video, to actually video themselves live.
Yeah, I think for somebody who's not afraid to make mistakes in public, I don't really like if I make mistakes, I double up myself. It's just I see life more than all the little bits and pieces. I mean, for somebody who's a perfectionist, that takes a lot of me, because I want everything perfect. But I've also realized that there's no such thing, and I'm putting undue pressure on myself and unnecessary stress for no reason. And I understand that people will see you for what they see themselves or lack thereof, right? Sometimes it's a reverse mirror. They see you as somebody you don't even see. And when someone told me I was an influencer, I started laughing and they got offended. And I was like, I'm sorry, wait, back the hell up for a minute. What did you just said? They're like, well, I didn't think that I could talk to you, and this was an opportunity for me to have a coffee chat, because I don't understand and I'm so scared being on video, and what if people laugh at me, and what if people judge me on my story? I said, what if you didn't get up this morning, and what if you don't brush your teeth for a month, and what if you don't shower, and what if you don't eat? Hello, there's all these what ifs. But at the end of the day, you have to switch your mindset and said, what if this is therapeutic for me? Right? Forget the visibility, right? Forget that. What if this is therapeutic for me? And some of the people who did it at the very first time, after we featured them on YouTube, they came back to me. They're like, it was so crazy. I see myself on YouTube. It is not even something I realized that I could have done if you asked me 6 months ago. Thank you for that confidence, a boost of confidence, for believing in me and my story. I said, first of all, you had to believe in you and your story for you to even go with me. You don't know who the heck I am, right? And then they're like, hey, CJ, thank you for doing that. I did not know I could do that. Now I think I'm going to move on with another project where I could be a mentor or a coach. And I was like, you go, girl. I got you, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like, you just don't know when you start a project. It's the intentions, right? It's the intention. So my intention was always to elevate my community. And from there, born with so many things that are positive. And some also were hesitant because they just don't know how I would use it, or if I make money off of the video. I gotten that feedback too. And I said, I would not make money off of your video. Actually, if you notice what I do, I don't even make money at all other than my courses. I give a lot for free for my community because I believe in leveling up the world through education, not necessarily going to get a college degree, but be educated on showing up, be educated on what authenticity looks like, be educated on what engagement looks like. This is your first lesson in life. Show up so you can be somebody that you believe you can. Right? It's really starting from you. And that person, unfortunately, just thought that I would use their video and sell it somehow and make millions of dollars from it. and they ended up not doing it, right? But then when they saw, I think, a third feature, the feedback I was getting was, I should have done it. I should have done it. I'm sorry that I didn't believe in you. Now I'm really like so sad that I couldn't do it. Could I still do it? And I said, unfortunately, no, because 50 Inspirational is 50 Inspirational. We stopped there, right? There was a lot of people that said no at the beginning. And then when they saw the project keep going, they're like, well, can I be in it? I'm like, maybe next year, right? Maybe next year. Now, how about you? Can you share a memorable moment or experience from your journey with this project that has had a significant impact on you?
Oh, a moment? How do I share a moment over months? There's just been too many impactful moments, to be honest. I have had a lot of people reach out to me as well, and like you say, asking if they could submit their video past the deadline, and I'm not so good at saying no. But I had to, out of respect for the timeline for the project and for the 50 people that were chosen. When people reach out to you and say that the opportunity that Constance gave changed my life, and they feel their life changed for the better, it's a moment no one can take away from them. The very first episode we did, and I went back and looked at it, and I cannot say that I went back and looked at all of the other episodes. And I wasn't even able to be there for the premiere on YouTube of any of them because I worked and I was at work at that time. But I was able to go back. And the impact is very evident by all the comments that were made during the premiere, and as well in all the posts that come out about it. What impacted me the most, I feel, is the impact that people had on me by reaching out and by wanting to share a little bit more than 5 minutes with me. That was the true impact, because every bit I hear about somebody else's story is something I either identify with or learn from. This has been a truly growing experience for me personally, not just on a level of education, but personally. The insights that I got from other people woke me up to a lot of things, and a lot of things for introspect as well. So I am thankful to you and for the 50 people, because yes, you're out here to make an impact, and guess what? You impact just one, and I could tell you start with me because you did impact me. You are on mute.
I was like, I'm not
Oh,
crying, you're crying. I can't
I
do
knew that's what you were saying. I knew it. I was like, don't start crying.
I
Like, we
know.
haven't even start looking at the videos yet.
I know. I'm just so thankful that you said yes and that you trust me enough, not knowing me as much as you know most people would. And all I say is be careful when you say I don't have enough something to do, because I'll create something for you to do.
Why
I
am I not surprised?
I
Why?
literally had a coffee chat with someone who's a commander, a SWAT commander, okay, who's traveling in Brazil, never met me. I dropped the ball and not calling him. And then by the end of our conversation, he's like, this is not what I expected him to do. I was like, yes, you have this homework, you have this homework, you have this homework. He's like, I haven't been in school in a while. What's happening here? I said, be careful with coffee chat. I should come in a bottle of warning. Do not do coffee chats with CJ if you're not willing to volunteer. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh God! Just know that if CJ, chances are you're getting roped into something, but it's anything but a noose. Trust me, it's anything but a noose. It is going to be a rope that you can climb. You're gonna
Oh,
get to the top of that mountain. You are.
oh, that was so funny. Well, we had our questions, so let's move on to our first first one. Okay, so
Let's do this.
whew, I can't believe this is it. This is it. Okay, so we're gonna have um most of our YouTube people first. So we're gonna do Raylan. So let's see if we can share. Can you see Raylan? All right.
Hi, everyone. I am Raywin Guerrero, the Gutsy Executive Coach, and I am really excited to be part of the 50 Inspirational Connections. I'll tell you why I feel like this is so important for me, because I am on a mission to help people empower themselves and learn to heal naturally and figure out exactly what's going on with their bodies. So, When I was 22, I left my island paradise and headed to the UK and lived in London for 22 years. I went to university there, I studied psychology, and the reason behind that was because my grandfather suffered from generalized anxiety disorder, and no one could help him apart from dispensing medications to him. And unfortunately, what ended up happening was that those medications, because he'd been on them for over 20 years, they led to damage to his brain. And he ended up suffering from multiple strokes and becoming incapacitated toward the end of his life. In fact, the last 7 years of his life, pretty much didn't get out of a chair. So it was very, very difficult for me and my family to witness, very difficult on my grandmother. And my grandfather was someone who was a very proud man. He was very strong physically. He was lifting weights up until he was in his late 60s. He used to cycle everywhere. And to see him wither away into the shell of a human was extremely distressing for me. So I wanted to learn everything that I could about the human brain and how you could prevent and reverse anxiety, and not just through the traditional talking therapies. So even though I did study psychology, I ended up learning about nutrition and the impact of things like B vitamins on the brain, on the way that the gut is connected to the brain. And my whole mission now is to show people that what they eat can have a direct impact on how they think, how they feel, their energy levels, their hormones. So I've studied functional medicine as a result of everything that I've been through personally with my family, and also my own self. Like, I suffered from IBS by the time I was in my mid 30s, and I remember clearly my gastroenterologist looking at me and telling me straight up, there's nothing structurally wrong with you. It must be in your head. Go see a psychologist, which was kind of disempowering because I'm like, well, I've studied psychology. I am not making up the stomach cramps. I'm not making up the panic. I'm not making any of those things up. I would panic if I wasn't close to a bathroom. It was very debilitating. I couldn't, go out the way that I would like to. And you're in your 30s and you kind of want to experience everything that life has to offer, and your body is holding you back. So I made it my mission to understand everything that I could about that link between the gut and the brain. And that really has been sort of like the big missing link in my practice now. So I've helped over 300 women. And when I was in my corporate job, I worked on a well-being program that impacted over 150,000 people globally. And now I want to take my own business and make that over 10 million people. I used to say I wanted to impact the size of London, which was 10 million. I'm now living in beautiful San Diego. As you can see, it's gorgeous out here, living in the sunshine. I have completely transformed my life by focusing on gut health and the gut brain connection. And I want to help other people realize how many things, how many problems that they have been overly medicated for are actually linked to what's at the end of their fork, what's going on with the microbes within their gut. And yeah, I just want to take it to the next level. So I really appreciate you listening to me. I hope that this message resonates with you. And if it doesn't, maybe it resonates with somebody that you know, someone who's struggling with MS or dementia or PCOS or PMS or Lyme disease, or even just plain old fatigue and burnout. Like, poor energy is a sign that the body is not doing its job properly, and you're not getting what you need from your food. So you might need to change that, or you might need to remove something, some sort of toxin in your environment, or some sort of sensitivity from your foods or something. So I love helping people uncover these hidden stressors and help them dress for success. So thanks for listening. Raywin here, happy to help, and good luck to everybody else.
What do you think?
I think that was awesome. I don't even know her. And you see, I get to meet someone. I get to meet someone else again. And that was a lot of information. And from somebody that has been taking medication to treat her bipolarness for more than 20 years now. And yes, doing talk therapy as well. It does, they everybody knows they say eat this, and then tomorrow they say don't eat that. It's like, what? Eat bananas, they're good for you. Then don't eat bananas, they're not good for you. Then, back and forth and back and forth. And I'm sure that some things are trial and error, because even though we all have human bodies, we're all made up a little bit differently. And I would be the first to admit that I am the worst when it comes to nutrition. I am definitely that midnight snacker, potato chips, shove a cookie in my mouth, go back to bed. Um, and I'm obviously not considering how this is impacting me. Yes, my exhaustion levels lately, especially, um, and that very real mental struggle to cope with everything that I want to do. And what could I be doing myself that's actually holding me back instead of doing the things or making the choices to help me?
Yeah, Raylin and I met for the first time with our sis Sandra Gonzalez in La Jolla, and she actually has her house set up for a getaway, and so she offered it one of these days for the ladies to come. She has some acres of land in Chula Vista where we could just have getaway, and then she has a chef that she knows to do some cleansing, like for and then yoga. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, one of these days next year, I'm gonna invite our sisters to come in to do that. And I also have IBS. I actually got hospitalized for that. It was pretty bad. I had two surgeries already for bleeding ulcer. One was during my college. I didn't eat. I only drink energy drinks and Starbucks, literally, because I was running rugged. I mean, full time student is 12 units, which is 3 units, so 4 classes. CJ had 8 classes, 24 units, and computer software programming communications. Plus, I work full time as an insurance person. And at that time, and I run the editorial piece because I do writing in our school newspaper. I was an editor for them as well. And I was a president of like Rotary International. I didn't have time to eat. So I thought, oh, I'm just going to drink. And I ended up in the hospital because I had a bleeding ulcer. So I had an endoscopy in my 20s to see where the bleeding ulcers are. So I was in medicine for a year. And so I said, okay, maybe we don't do 24 units, CJ. We just do full time at 12 units. We're good. And so that's when I kind of backed down and
You mean like everybody else, God forbid? Yeah, because you hurt yourself, you damage yourself.
yeah, and it's not. And then so I ended up in the hospital maybe in the last 6 years, just recently for IBS as well. It's because I also had my gallbladder removed, and when they did that in the surgery room, they're like, most people that come with gallbladder removal is a little bit on the heavy side. You're freaking skinny. What is happening? And I said, it's the food that I eat. I eat a lot of spicy food and during my younger times. And so I had to get my gallbladder removed. And then I thought I could eat whatever at this point. No, you can't eat whatever. Like you, I just like, I don't care. And I should. And then I ended up in the ER. So I love Raylan because she is doing it from experience, but also out of love. She does her research out of love. So I love that. So I cannot wait for you to meet up with her. Now, let's do another sister. Let's see. Let's do Camille's story.
I've always been a nurturer. I'm always the one that takes care of everybody. My mom and dad, they got married quite young. I love them to death. They just weren't meant to be together. It was very hard for me to go decide who I wanted to live with because I love them so dearly and I felt like as if I would hurt either of them. I'm grateful for the life that my parents were able to give me, even though they were going through their own emotions and their own strife and sorrow. Even though my family was divided due to divorce, we were never divided through love. My sister and I are 10 years apart, and that was the best gift they ever gave me because I no longer was alone. She basically slept in the same bed with me from 16 months until I moved out when she was around 10, 11 years old, literally every night. She was my blessing, so I never wanted anything to ever happen to her or for her to ever see of my parents in their worst state that I had seen. I was in grade 9, and my sister was going to daycare. So what I would do is I'd carry 2 bags to high school. I'd have one bag with my clothes and my sister's clothes and my school bag. But I would never tell anybody what was going on. Most teenagers would say, oh, that's a burden to take care of your sibling because my mom worked 2 jobs and my dad was living in the West End. But I actually loved it because my sister was my blessing because she was now showed me that I'm not alone anymore. Even though I didn't do any school activities because I picked her up after daycare or I didn't really hang out, she kept me out of trouble because I had her all the time, to the point where people used to think that she was my daughter. On the outside, everybody at school saw me as the funny, quirky I got it all together girl, like Camille, ha ha ha, Camille have problems, yeah, right. But on the inside, this is back in the 90s when mental health wasn't a thing. I had massive anxiety, depression. I lost my period at one point. I had like the first one, my anorexia, I had, like hair, like that white hair on my hand, on my arms. I think I got my period like twice in high school, in the entire high school. But I was very good at masking my inner self because I always felt like I didn't want to be a burden. I would laugh and play and everything in front of everybody's face, and then I'd go home and I'd shut the door and I would sleep. I was put on Paxil at 15. I got like things stuck to my head to check my serotonin. I was always the best friend. I was the confidant. I was my sister's keeper. I'd help out when my mom was working. I didn't want to make my dad sad. So I would just, always be happy around him. But inside, I was like literally dying. I didn't know how to express myself. And nor did I want to, because I didn't want to be looked at as not having it together. It was embarrassing. I feel guilty because, I've never had that trauma of physical or mental abuse. So then I get mad at myself, say, how dare I feel this way? My husband is an amazing gentleman, but he is a man that lives through survival. His form of love sometimes is in the form of survival as opposed to just noticing me. As I grow and as I glow in my own greatness, he appreciates it and supports me, but doesn't understand it. My personal growth and personal development is making me a better woman, a better mother, and I want to be an even better wife. I need to give myself permission to and know that the only person I'm really truly battling is myself. I've had the blessing of having even the worst person turn around and say thank you because of the energy that I have. So I need to honor my own energy and really know that I am my own superhero. I actually love helping and I love inspiring people. I love motivating. I want everybody to see the greatness that I've always felt about myself in them. I want to leave a legacy that will last far beyond my death. A legacy that says that, Camille did it because she loved.
What do you think?
Beautiful video, very different than some of the other submissions. And when they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, she didn't share about starting a business, about necessarily starting with impacting other people's lives, but she owned her story, which I'm all about. She owned her story and faced it so that she could be better. And in her being better, she was able to help others and continues obviously to help others. That endearing side of it, to be able to, endearing and enduring, to be able to raise her sister, that's something that a lot of people face, and they often don't think about it as a superpower. But you're thrust into being a parent. And there is no book on that. God alone knows I wasn't the best parent either. So, kudos to you, Camille. I loved it.
I did too. I got to know her a little bit and her story. She's in Canada, and she's a strong woman. And I appreciated her sharing her story about, often I think what really struck me in there is that often we'd like to compare our adversity with other people. And when we hear other people's suffering is more than ours, we can't help but compare ourselves and then question ourselves, saying, how dare I feel this way when someone out there, so and so, is really suffering? We minimize our own suffering because we compare ourselves with other people's suffering. And we shouldn't do that. We should definitely own our own suffering and take a moment to own that suffering and say it's okay that you feel this way. It's okay not to be okay, right? And just be that. And I think it's hard for us to, because we are socially conditioned to give and to receive is bad thing, and so to take care of ourselves is a bad thing. It's selfish, it's narcissistic, where if you take care of other people, that is more kudos, that's more points, right? And so we need to reverse that. And I love that she says it doesn't matter how other people, you know, feel that way. It's that human nature that we tend to compare, like my adversity is not bad than yours. Oh my god, yours is so much worse than mine. I don't know why I'm feeling this way. We shouldn't do that, right? We need to just own our own journey and our own adversity and ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. I have a hard time asking for help. You know this. And but sometimes when you're comfortable and you know that you're in an environment like our supportive sisters where judgment is not there, then you're more able to show up for yourself and be vulnerable. So I love her story so much. Let's go ahead and take a look at this from our sister Dina.
Hi, I am Dina Fortune, and I found inspiration within myself by learning how to be comfortable with being myself. And in a world where being highly sensitive was very challenging, and also with a lot of communication challenges at an early age, in an environment where there was a lot of uncertainty due to my health condition that I was born with, that interestingly enough had to do with my thyroid, which affected my brain. And so I am inspired by myself that I've been able to overcome so many challenges around communication, that I can even speak today in this way and stay on focus, that I've been able to overcome challenges around communication, be able to be a functioning human being that is also a spiritual being living in a human body that also communicates in soul language. And then I've been able to find a way to be authentically myself. And I feel that the same way that I inspire myself to be who I am, to show up, to bring joy and bliss and smiles, it's also the same thing that is inspiring to others. And it's part of my soul mission to inspire others. And if you were to look at my gene keys, my hologenetic gene key profile, you will see inspiration in my profile. And so I do now believe that becoming who I am, and as I grow and evolve, I carry along with me the ability to activate others, inspire others to be who they truly came here to be, and to be a guiding energy to assist them along the way in their awakening. And I do this with art, with channeling, working with higher frequency energies such as the dragons of the Sophia, the golden dragons. I have brought this all together within my being to inspire others to tap into who they truly are and to take off the masks, to allow themselves to shine, to feel free, to take off the mask, to fly. And the other ways that I intend to be an inspiration is in what I am creating. And that is including a divine feminine women's circle, the dragon circle that I co-created, and the art that I channel that has intention to inspire creativity within others. And with that, I've also been creating intuitive art experiences intuitive art ceremony and services that bring out the creative artist in others, the healer in others, their own inner healer. So there's been all these opportunities and inspirations that have been birthing through me that I share out to others that are meant to receive from me. And so, in doing so, one of the things that I really am so grateful about is the fact that I got to be part of a multi author book in which I was so inspired to write about self love. And because self love has been such a big part of my journey. And so, there's so much more to come through me and service in service to others, and that's also how I feel so inspired, is to be of service through creative means, through healing modalities and spaces and places to do all that. So thank you so much for listening and tuning into my energy and being inspired to be who you truly are.
Oh, I love that. What do you think? You're on mute, by the way. Okay, there you are.
Oh, I can hear my puppy crying. He's gonna start making a ruckus.
What's wrong with the puppy?
Oh, nothing. He's having a, what do you call it? Anxiety separation issues because his father's on the other side of the door right now in the yard.
Oh my God, drama.
So, Dina, I need you to come here and like channel some of that cooling, calming energy into this little brat over here. So, Dina and I have spoken a few times before. And again, I have to say it. One of the things I love about this is that people are coming up here and being inspired by themselves. You know, it does start with us, and it starts with us being able to embrace our story and be inspired by our own story. And I only recently just started doing that for myself. So I understand how empowering that is. And, to want to be a channel for someone is huge because to absorb somebody's energy and help turn that back out into good energy and send it back to them is not easy. It takes a very special person to be able to do that.
Yeah. Dina actually and I think at first she didn't want to do the video because something in her that says maybe no. And I had a conversation with her and I said, I'm not pushing you. However, sometimes in order for us to help others, we have to help ourselves first. And that's what she did. She showed up for herself in here and she give off such a good energy. And Dina, if you're seeing this live, I love you, girl. Like we love you, and we're practicing self-love. It's hard to practice self-love when all you're doing is give love to somebody else, and it's always the outside, right? And I'm glad that we're changing the dichotomy of conversation and discourse about giving ourselves self-love. So let's go ahead and share my screen. Oh boy, here we go. Let's see if we can get this. Wait, did I? No. This one. What do you see? Do you see
I
Dr.
see
Z?
Dr. Z.
All right, here it is.
Hi everyone, I am Miriam Silverglade. Everybody calls me Dr. C. I am a physician, a mother, a wife, an author, and also a well-being advocate. When I was offered the opportunity to be part of the 50 inspirational connections, I had this palpitation in my heart, and the reason is that I cannot imagine anything else that could be as close as being inspirational, that will define my mission and my purpose in life. Um, I grew up thinking about helping others, changing the world, making it better. I thought about many ways to do it, from just being a psychologist, working with adolescents, to ending in medical school and becoming a geriatric doctor, and being an educator. And probably during all those years, I was helping people in the one to one basis, but it took me decades to understand that that was not enough for me, that I was not absolutely accomplished or satisfied with that. And the reason is that it was not enough. When I think about our reality, what is happening today in the world, when I think about the 46,000 individuals that die by suicide every year in this country, the big amount of individuals, one in five actually, in the US that suffer from a mental health illness, and how many of those they not only don't have support but don't have the opportunity or the access to get care, appropriate care, treatment. When I think that many kids, because of COVID or just because of the changes in the society, are now suffering from also depression, anxiety, bullying, um, and they are supposed to be happy and healthy, and they are supposed to grow up to be the next generation of leaders. The only thing that I can think about is to be inspirational, to become that person that can affect in a positive way, that can impact others, and that can bring, with the support and collaboration of many, uh, opportunity for all of us to live in a better world, not only for us as individuals, but really for our kids and for the next generation. The way that we have been living our life, our priorities, our values, for some reason, they are not working. And we need to admit it. And it's not our fault necessarily, and it's not something wrong. We try. There is not a manual that tells us how to live our lives, how to be in this world. But we need to be self aware, and we need to be social aware and understand that, yes, we are not doing a great job in the way that we are living our lives, and that we need to start changing and improving and generating new opportunities, new possibilities, new tactics, so we can hopefully direct ourselves, our society, and our world in the right direction. Um, be inspired, be proactive, live your life with love, with kindness. And as my son Ellie said once to me, always remember, this is your life, this is your choice, this is your journey. Embrace it.
I love her.
So do I, and she's so well spoken. You
Ah,
know,
yeah,
and I
so
love that she was on her journey, and we're on our journeys, and it's enough sometimes at that point. But as we continue along our journey, we start to learn that it's no longer enough. And she recognized that. And she felt, okay, I want more, and now I'm going to do more. And oftentimes people stay on that part of their journey and they're like, I want more, but, and there's a lot of buts. So overcoming her own obstacles within herself to say, okay, no, I'm going to go after more, right, has now brought her to this point. And she is a very impactful person, and her years and years and years in medicine only lends to what she already is advocating for.
so I'm so inspired by her because she's a medical doctor. She already said that she's in geriatric. She quit her job as a medical doctor and created her own business as a medical doctor to help more people because she doesn't want the red tape and the bureaucratic things that you have to deal with when you work for someone at the hospital level. And she wants to do more. And I know that her thoughts about, medical doctors who commit suicide because they can't handle the pressure. That's all she's been posting. And she kind of inspired my book a little bit on Rattled Awake when I talk about the suicide rates on Asian students. Because most of them that want to be a medical doctor, they're there. And I haven't looked at the statistics on how many medical doctors who are Asians who kill themselves because of pressure. I haven't looked at that. And so she does make an impact. And I love that she said, when you asked me, my heart palpitated a little bit. I'm like, oh, you see, this is the impact that we're creating, Nicole. You see that, right? Like, it's so amazing. I cannot believe it. And I can't even stop thinking about, like, wow, this is kind of an amazing thing that literally people tell us, how they're feeling about that. Let's go ahead and talk to, well, let's see. Let's go with our brother Paul. Can you see Paul?
Yes, I can. Hi, Paul.
First, I want to say deepest gratitudes to Nicole and my sis, Dr. Constance Leland, for an amazing 50 Inspirational Connections project. Honored to be a part of it. My name is Paul Deitch Cummings, and this is my story. My life has been all about being unconventional, we'll say, right? I was born and raised in Hawaii. I grew up with my grandparents. My dad was a drug addict. I had aspirations since I was young, we'll say 10 years old. I had my entire life planned out, right? I wanted to be a neurosurgeon in a place where nobody knew what that was. And I was 16 years old when I started going to college to pursue this. A year later was when I experienced kind of my turning point in life, right? Both my grandparents had passed away. My dad passed away. My mom became medically disabled. So a big piece of my story has been that I supported my family financially in Hawaii since I was 17 years old, up until I left last year to move to Florida. And inspiration for me has been such a powerful journey. My entire entrepreneur journey has been fueled by one thing, right? Just being the person for others that you wish that you had. I didn't always have a lot of support. I always wanted to do things that weren't done before. So it's been an interesting journey, to say the least. And there's been two projects that have really been inspired by my entrepreneur journey, right? The first one is a book that I'm writing this year, The Greatest Detour, The University of Adversity, which is basically about why I left college to enter the University of Adversity as my metaphor for life. And this live show that I had of Impossible Equals Impossible was because there has been so many times in my life where I thought something was impossible. People have told me that word my entire life, and I've always proven that impossible equals impossible. And it's interesting as I sit here now making this video, because on my 18th birthday, I didn't want to be here. And now as I make this video, just reflecting on this entire journey, I've never been more alive. And I think that when you're talking about inspiration, right, one of my newest projects that I'm working on, and I've essentially pivoted from my finance career, is becoming a mentor to my generation, right? I've spent the past 2 years training with elite mentors in business and finance, and every single room that I've been in, right? Every elite person that I've met, I've been one of the only people, if not the only one most of the time. And I want to see more people in that realm, right? There's so much potential, so much possibility, yet there's so many people that accept their reality instead of chasing their potential. And more importantly, that was the whole point of creating Impossible Equals Impossible, was to inspire people to be more than who they already are. And one of the most powerful lessons that I've learned is that everyone and everything that you meet in life is a lesson or a blessing. Adversity for me has been the greatest gift, right? I have so much gratitude for all the challenges and obstacles that I've overcome. And I want to close this video with my favorite quote, right, by my mentor mom, Danelle Delgado. And she said that, be more afraid of being nothing than being something. There will always be someone who's behind of and ahead of you in life. So it's important to reach up to grow and also reach back to teach. Thank you.
I love what he ended with. I mean, and yes, Paul is known for being one of the youngest out there, for his knowledge, his wisdom, but at the core of it all, he's a really good person. And that always shines through. We all share a message. That's the beauty of social media and of LinkedIn. But at the core, for you to be seen all the way through, it's just, for you to be seen like that means that you really are making an impact, that people are stopping to listen, and not just listen, but take the time to really see through everything. What you're sharing didn't just happen overnight. You are sharing what you're sharing because it's happened to you. And Paul is definitely one of those people that continues to share knowledge, right? His knowledge is founded in real facts, in real tangible things that he has not just experienced but come into, like the scrolls, for example. So Paul, thank you so much for coming and submitting your video. I'm really, really glad that you did. So thank you.
Yeah. And it took him a while to call me sis too, because he gets like, I think at first he's like, you could be as old as my mom. I'm like, you shut up. Okay. Where I'm still in my 20s. You shut up right now. I'm like, because he tells me like, you could be as old as my mom. I'm like, shut up. We're sisters and brothers. That's all. That's all. The end. And if you can't call me that, you're gonna call me mom. Don't even talk to me in the same room. Like, I kid around with him, right? I was like, dang it, you're giving me more age there, Paul. But he's so funny. And he actually does have a giving heart. And I think part of his wisdom and his hunger for living an impact and legacy and provide value to his community is because of his experiences. Imagine, basically losing your dream and knowing that this is it for me. I'm going to be for the rest of my life taking care of my mom out of whatever, because it's a necessity. He grew up fast. When people are teenagers and still, driving around looking at girls and like, oh my God, she's so cute. Paul's here hustling for life, right? Like my daughter, I could just imagine. I'm like, oh my God, mom, I'm going to put my lipstick and my eyelash, at same age as Paul when he had to go hustle, right? Paul's like, oh my God, I got to get this. And my daughter's like, yeah, she's so cute. Like that should be what his life is. But he had to grow up fast because he has to survive. And so that's how he learns so quickly. And he's a giver. He gives information to people and he will grow. And I haven't talked to him, but I should tell him it's not too late to go back to school and become whoever you are. Hello, I'm still in school, your mom, sis. Okay, like I'm still in school. I'll still be in school in my 60s. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know. You've been trying to push me to go back to school.
I know. I already did. Sandra's going back to school because of me. I was like, sister, let's go. There's nothing to be afraid. I'll be your tutor. I know I'm busy, but anything you need, I will teach you on the side note, and I'll be your because that's what my husband is for me. When I took um people are like, why did you get a master's in cybersecurity and counterintelligence? Do you want to go to the FBI? And I was like, no, they already tried that. um, but if I don't understand, I literally have a whiteboard. I take it in front of my husband. I'm like, show me. I don't understand this wire. And he used to be a teacher, so he would show me. But then I have a squirrel mind. He's like, CJ, focus. We're on step 2. I'm like, oh, so I can't get coffee yet, or let me go to the bathroom real quick. And then he would come back. He's like, do you remember? I'm like, no, you gotta go back again. And my teacher would be like, wow, you're so smart. You got this. And are you sure you haven't worked in IT? I was like, can I be honest? I live with an architect for Amazon at my house. So he just teaches me all the stuff I need. And I have a built-in tutor. I can be your built-in tutor if you go back to school. You see, it works. And Paul, let me
I
tell you,
know you're definitely teaching me a lot right now.
yeah, you can go back. There is nothing stopping you. And if you really want it, you can do it. It's just a matter of like, when is the right time? And it's never the right time. So just go for it. Like what Nick did to me. Okay. Didn't even know what it was all about. She would give up an hour every Sunday. Oh, that's so funny. All right. So we're going to do our brother Dan. Are you ready?
Hi, my name is Dan Roth, and I am here today to talk to you about a moment that radically changed my life and why I do what I do. I've been working in diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging for the better part of my life. But there's a time in everyone's existence that one moment stands out as the one that shifts the narrative and takes you from being someone that talks to being someone that acts. For me, that was the day my children were born. Now, this isn't a traditional story about a wife, a partner that gave birth. We were the first ones in either side of our families, and both sides of our families, to have twins. And with twin pregnancy came a lot of issues and difficulties, from hyperemesis to gestational diabetes to preeclampsia. And the preeclampsia was what moved our due date up from 39 weeks to a C-section at 37. We were due to give birth on the 21st of 21st of August with a C-section at 11:15 in the morning. Well, on the 20th at 11:15 at night, my wife's water broke. We went to the hospital. We got everything set. We waited. And then at 3:15 and 3:16 in the morning, respectively, my daughters were born. The C-section went as planned. I honestly didn't cry. I was joking, trying to make my wife comfortable. But what happened after is what shaped my life. After they were born, they wheeled my wife into the recovery room, and everything was fine for the first 5 minutes. After that, I noticed that there was a lot of huddling around her. And the doctors came in, and I don't want to say they were in panic, but as close to panic as doctors are going to show. So they wheel her out, and they don't tell me anything. Now, I said I didn't cry during the child's being born, but when my wife left, and I was left to think about the possibility of losing what in the Jewish religion we refer to as beshert, which is soulmate, I completely broke down. So I'm sitting there by myself with just me and the girls, and I'm holding them in between tears. And I started thinking about having to raise them by myself. I started thinking about what I would do, how I would do it, if I was even a capable enough human being. And I thought about things like, is this world built for them to be whatever they want? I thought to myself, if they ask me, can I be anything I want to be, Daddy? Would they be able to be? And their answer was no. And at that moment, I had a switch that turned. And I realized in that moment that if I don't do everything in my capacity from morning to night to make this world a better place for my children, then not only am I not honoring my wife, but I'm not honoring them. I'm not fulfilling my obligation, my duty, my gift that I have been given. That was 4 years ago. Now, to just kind of cap this, my wife came back in the room 3.5 hours later, sees the tears running down my face and says, "What are you crying for? I'm the one that just had surgery," which is typical fashion. But from then on, it's been off to the races. That's why I do what I do. That's why I am who I am. And that's what I bring to the world. My name's Dan Roth. It's nice to meet you.
Okay, I did not know Dan's story, even though we interact on LinkedIn. So this truly is my first time hearing his story. And Dan, you needed to write and rattle the week with us. That's all I have to say.
Oh, I was like, that's the first thing I was thinking. I was like, yeah.
This is so a rattled awake moment when they talk about what this book was about. Oh God, I can't imagine putting myself in that situation. I mean, you want to empathize and you want to be able to step in somebody's shoes. That's nuts. That's nuts. And all that you came up with in that moment, in those, what must have been excruciating 3.5 hours, that pivotal moment that you decided this was going to change the way that I do things, and you've lived it the last 4 years. Nothing but respect, man. Nothing but respect.
That kind of gave me a little bit of anxiety, and when he was talking about losing his wife, because I never really stopped to think how my husband felt when he almost lost me on the emergency C-section on our first daughter. He almost fainted. This man, okay, my mom is 85 pounds, 80 pounds, 4'10". My husband was over 200 pounds, 220 at that time, 6'1". Can you imagine my mom like holding my husband? Don't think so. He was super white. He thought he was going to lose me. I didn't have preeclampsia, preeclampsia is basically like sudden gain weight, high blood pressure, like that. There's just so many things that's wrong with that, right? Our body literally goes through so much battle, like war between the kid and you. And when I was losing a lot of blood, because it was C-section, they had to like emergency, and I didn't even have any pain meds because they couldn't give it to me. They already had an episiotomy. And my husband's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this." He almost fainted when he saw that. I was just wondering what went through his head. He hasn't really shared that. We've been married for 20 years. He hasn't really shared what went through his head if he were to lose me and our first child. That's kind of crazy. And that kind of brought back memories when he said that. And I'm going to ask him after this video, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, exactly. Ask him, because, we talk about that this morning in the audio room, right? Nick having control. And it's true. It's true about your partner being on that journey and sharing everything and how you don't even think about it sometimes. And Kimberly was saying that sometimes you think you're doing the right thing, but you don't realize that you're not.
Yeah,
And go ask that question.
I
Maybe
am.
he never even realized that, or maybe he thinks it, and he thinks to himself, "Wow, did she ever consider how everything that she was going through affected me?"
Yeah, I
That
didn't even realize that. All he said was like, "Oh my god!" All I can think about was not to faint on your mother, and because she's like, and his mom actually was also there. Both my mother-in-law and my mom was there when I gave birth to my first child, and because we're both only children, so our moms had to be there. And his mom's like, "Honey, do you want me to hold you?" And he's like, "I'm not leaving my wife." But there was only so many chairs. There were like four doctors with me because I think they said I might need blood infusion because I was losing so much, and they had to cut me everywhere they could, and it was crooked. All I could think about, and I remember saying to him, "Just pray and know that I love you." But I haven't asked him, so I'm gonna ask him today. Thanks, Diane. Wow, that brought back like such like a nightmare in my head, but at the same time, like, wow, I need to ask that question. I never even thought of asking, but I will today. Of all days. Oh, CJ, I told you not to cry. All right, so we're gonna do the last one, not the least, but the last one. Dr. Newbie, are you ready?
Hi, I'm Dr. Lupi, otherwise known as the Glitter Practitioner. I'm a GP, a family physician in the UK. I'm also a transformation life coach, a speaker, and soon to be published author. And my passion is people, and it's providing whole person, heart-centered care and guiding and sharing and showing others how to truly recognize their whole self-health needs, what they are, how to keep it in alignment, how to keep these needs topped up and replenished as the core foundation of health and well-being. And this is something I have shared with my patients and with my clients as a coach over the most part of my career, really. I've been a doctor for 25 years. And this is something that I have integrated with the conventional medical model of care. And it's when somebody else is empowered to do this for themselves, and it's understanding how to. And that's the key. And this is something that wasn't taught in medical school. This is something that came from my own personal experience of burnout, which was 13 years ago. And it was the most painful, the most hideous, soul-destroying time. But for all its pain and shame it brought, I wouldn't change it for anything, because it truly woke me up to a deeper understanding of health. And I had a part to play in my own burnout as a perfectionist, unrelenting standards, the people pleaser that I was, putting others' needs before my own. All of these aspects of self, myself, had a part to play. And it was from this understanding and this expanded awareness that I gained and learned and further discovered. This is what I brought back into my clinical practice. And I created a framework, my F list. And it's a list that is so much more than just a list. But what it does is guide somebody else to truly recognize their whole self-health needs, how to realign them, how to keep them topped up. And when that's in balance and in flow, when you are aligned with your passions, your purpose, your values, that's when you are not only just in tune with yourself, you're in tune better with the world around and with others. And that's when you literally sparkle your essence. It's your inner light, your energy. And it never fails to light me up. And that's where the glitter comes from, because when I see the light that starts to sparkle in somebody's eyes from understanding their needs and recognizing them and taking ownership of them, that's when the magic starts happening. And that's when the healing and the transformation starts. And that is just beautiful. And that's my legacy. It is sharing this framework, sharing the how-to with more people than what I've already done with my own practice community. My legacy is to glitterify the world. And it boils down to you. Your needs matter. I value your needs, and it is learning how to own them, protect them, standing in your power, and truly living the life you deserve unapologetically. Being your bestest, boldest, brightest, most badass self. Being you with bells on. Because you deserve nothing less.
I love her. My glitter queen.
Don't even ask me what I think.
Oh my God. When she shared her story with me and I was cursing a lot, and she's like, "You curse too?" I'm like, "Yeah. My husband actually tells me to shut that. You know what, right?"
I tell people that we curse constant. This
And
is rated G for general. What is wrong with you?
And I was like, "Oh my God, I can't." And she's like, "Yeah." And I don't know how many takes she did this, because she tends to curse on her video. And I told her, keep it PG-13, PG-13, okay? I don't want to be like copyright issues and, all this nonsense from YouTube. And she's like, okay, I'll keep it PG. Oh my God.
Oh God. The first time we talked, I think it was like a 4-hour chat. And we took a break in between. She's like, I'm hungry. I'm going to go make a sandwich. I'm going to go make a cup of coffee, run to the ladies. And, it was at that, around beginning stages of my rattled awake moment that I want so much more. And I am capable of it. And I'm going to go start my business. And I would never forget, because the second part of the session, and it's not even a session because it's a coffee shop, she pulls out a notebook, she's got a pen. She's like, okay, so this is what I think, and this is the plan, and you need to create this, and you need to do that package. And I was like, wow, I don't even know you, and you're already on board with what I want to do, to the point that you're like, let's plan this, right? And I think she has probably seen so many broken people, physically and otherwise, in her career, that she naturally can't help but want to heal.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, she's like a breath of fresh air. Yes, it's like she walks in the room and she just goes like this, and all the glitter comes with it. So I'm biased. I'm sorry. I love Dr. Nupi.
Me too.
And I couldn't be happier to end. I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it either.
Oh, I'm going to start crying.
No, don't cry. But this is my question. What motivates you to continue working on this project when we know you and I had some, issues with like time, right? So what do you hope to achieve in the long term, both personally and for the community or cause that we're both serving?
Don't even continue to work on the project. Isn't
These
today the last day?
No, these are two questions, right? What motivates you to continue working on this project, and also personally for our community, because even though 50 Inspirational is done, we still have the Global Summit. I'm always going to have projects, but like, I'm just saying.
No. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It's like there's another episode I don't know about. Do we have another 50 people?
No, this is it. Next year it will be. I was thinking of doing it January instead of July, but I just don't know what my January is usually vision boarding. So we'll see how that goes. But like, think back the moment, even the last 2-3 times that we did the episode, like what motivates you to continue working, knowing you have a lot of projects on your plate too?
Well, first off, lady, my next question and my final question was this going to happen again? No, I'm not saying with me. I just meant, is the 50 Inspirational Connections on LinkedIn happening again? I get the feeling that I might just want to come along for the ride again because it's been such an exceptional ride. What makes me want to continue? It's been tough. I wouldn't lie. A lot has happened very fast. From authoring in the first book and saying, okay, let's start the Gifted Bipolar Writer. A lot of projects have come my way. Knock wood, still have clients. All through referrals, because I don't do a ton of advertising with the business because I have a full-time position with a company. It's a lot of accountability. Showing up, yes, because I said yes to you, and now I have said yes to a community who values this project. It's yes to myself for holding myself accountable, and because with each episode I grow. And that might seem a bit selfish because this project is to help other people grow. But I am also growing from it. And you know very well, especially since starting the audio room, I've been like, Constance, I'm tired. Can we do this in like 30 minutes? I need a nap. And, or I have something to work on. Or shoot, the other day we had terrible technical issues and we couldn't get it up and running for nothing, and we ended up doing it during the week, which is challenging for both of us because we both work.
Yeah.
Right?
We have full-time jobs. Yeah.
Oftentimes you show up and from just what people see, it doesn't appear, that you do have a job, actually, because we do, and so do you. Yes, it's been challenging time-wise, and yes, I have felt tired. I would kid you not. But every time I finish an episode, I have walked away feeling re-energized. I'm ready to go now because I feel so inspired by the videos we've looked at, right? And then you kind of, the whole reason for doing this is awoken again inside of you. So I would definitely do this project again. I would definitely encourage anybody and everybody watching this that did not get a chance to submit. Submit. I'm sorry, he's having a heart attack. His dad just left the house. He's washing the clothes outside.
Mine was snoring the whole time, and I'm like, oh, I can't even be quiet. But that's okay. It's just our baby. But I'm glad. But the question that I'm gonna ask on top of this is, how is it like to work with me on this project? And be honest. Oh no.
Constance is a slave driver. She cracks the whip. She don't let you sleep. She don't let you eat. She don't let you drink. I'm just full of shit. Oh, G for General. My bad.
We can bleep that. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Bad girl, Nick. It's been a pleasure. I will not lie. You are structured. You are about deadlines. You are about keeping us on track. And that is never a bad thing. Because the thing is, if you let one project go on forever, you'll not have time to take on other projects. And there are so many different areas to highlight. This is just one of them, right? And everyone is as important as the next. So I cannot wait for the Global Summit that's coming. It's my first time participating in any sort of a Global Summit. Yes, the fact that I know you is part of the reason I'm in it. But another part of the reason I choose to be in it is because of the opportunities it's going to give me. And I'm quite okay with owning the selfishness of that part right now, because what am I doing if I'm not investing in myself? And then there are so many other people, again, that I'm going to meet, that I'm going to reach, that are going to meet me through all of this, I have no doubt the value that this is going to bring. 50 Inspirational brought one kind of value. This is going to bring value across the globe because there are going to be so many people involved, and everybody's aspect of recharge and in charge is is different. It looks different for every person, right? And how can I not want to walk away with understanding what everybody else is using, to get that? And that's it. You're gonna have how many speakers, Constance? 30?
Yeah, I'm aiming for 30, but I'm picking and choosing. I'm very nitpicky right now. It's because I want to make sure that the individuals I'm choosing to align myself is heart centered. I've seen people who applied, and when I talk to them, because I don't just apply and like you're in, I apply and then I have a coffee chat with you to understand where you're coming from. If I see a little inkling that you're not a heart centered individual, I'm gonna publicly say this: you're not it. Because my community that I want to build is a community that's giving. Because of the fact that we all rely from each other, and collaboration over competition is what I'm looking for. And really, yes, we're gonna make money, but at the same time, it's relationship that matters to me the most, because you can make money anytime and anywhere, but people in relationship, you can't just pass that up. One, sometimes you lose that opportunity to connect with people, and it could be a good collaboration. You lose it because your focus was not in a relationship. Your focus was, how can I be visible? How can I make money all the time? You need to kind of relax on that and just think, what are some of the values I can add to my community? And the money will come. It's just that we
There
need
has
that
to be a
value.
balance.
Yeah.
There has to be a balance. You cannot be driven directly from the monetary aspect of things because that will fade real quick,
Yeah. And
right?
people are like,
We're in business. We do want to make money, and there is a cost involved to doing everything. And even if not a production cost, there is always a cost of time, and time that you could be investing doing other things to make money.
yeah,
But it cannot be driven that way. And I honestly believe you cannot force yourself as somebody that provides a service to align with the vision of someone else. If you're forcing yourself to align with that vision simply because you want to get paid, then you're going to lose your inspiration along the way,
yeah,
right?
it's
You
not
have to
sustainable.
be in alignment with what that person is offering, and you have to believe it. Be able to partake of it and see the value for yourself,
Yeah.
right?
And
And I
again,
do want to say, I'm sorry, in working with you, I have felt very much a partner with you. And we talk about collaboration, and collaboration means a team. And oftentimes a person could be on a team but not feel a part of the team, right? And sometimes it could be the individual, yes, but it always takes two hands, right?
yeah,
Never once have you made me feel anything lesser than your equal. Somebody who doesn't know us could look at me and look at you and go, well, look at Constance. My God, she is gorgeous. The absolute epitome of picture perfect. She just. And then you got Nick. Nick, who's like, God forbid I should put on a lick of anything other than some body lotion on my face. Yes, that's not facial moisturizer. um and then you're so very well spoken in a very educated way. It's not that I'm not well spoken as well, but I don't have that level of education to be able to hold a conversation on certain topics the way that you can. But we looked at each other and we embraced each other and we said, okay, what are our strengths? Let's play off of them. What are our weaknesses? Let us learn and grow from each other. There's no, oh, you didn't know that? Like, really? you know that's not the way we level people up.
but
Okay,
my
that's not
intentions
the
is
way we do it.
like, you didn't know where you're going, so I got you into the project because I know you're inspirational and I know you were more than you know. Then I created the room for us for this 50 inspirational, and I told you, take over the room because it's already have people. And look at you right now, you took over the room. That's really how I do it. Is I set up for people for success without even sometimes letting them know, because My heart is so full when I see success on people when they show up. But you showed up. I gave you opportunity, you took it, you run with it, and you showed up. And that's what I want people to do. Just because you're in the 50 inspirational, don't let that stop you. Keep going.
Yes, keep
That
going.
momentum. Take that momentum and say, okay, I'm the driver of this destiny. I'm going somewhere. Where are you going? I don't know. I'm just gonna keep filling up and just gonna keep going straight. That's it. Just keep
Let this be a stepping stone. Let this be a stepping stone. Let it be the springboard. Okay? Remember how this made you feel, right? And keep going, because you have the ability to make someone else feel this way. Okay? Do not let people look at you, look at your skill set, look at what you have achieved, and tell you that that's your cap, because it's not your cap. You decide what your cap is. So don't even begin to get me fired up. Yes, I am truly inspired by this project. And you, lady, will you do the 50 inspirational connections on LinkedIn again? Yes, we know that you will. Why? And then I may as well add at this point, when do you anticipate that you would do it?
I was thinking of doing the same thing like around June of next year, but I might be thinking maybe January. I don't know, because I wanted to see like a reflection of 2023 and what inspired you looking back in the last 12 months of your life, that, towards the tail end of COVID, right? Because that's what it is. And then a lot of people losing their jobs really still today. Inflation happened, adversity happens in your life. And maybe instead of doing inspirational, we could even add, what are you grateful for? And inspired you to keep going to 2024.
I love
And
it. There certainly can be a twist on 50 inspirational, as in theme-driven 50 inspirational.
yes,
Especially if this is going to be an ongoing project. And again, I just hope that all the people that did reach out, because there were a lot of people that reached out to me about submitting and did not get an opportunity to submit this time. Okay, the opportunity is going to be there again. Do not miss it. You never know when the opportunities are going to show up, but you never know when they're going to disappear. Okay,
you
so
just,
act and act now.
yeah, I was like, they disappear quick because I have a full-time job. Like, this is it, the window. But I really love that you just jumped in. To lesson learned for everyone is that when opportunity knocks, either from me, from somebody else, from Nick, whoever gives you the opportunity, don't question the intent of the people when they literally tell you, I'm going to elevate you. I understand that our community and our social is like, what's in it for them? And when do I pay money? Like, because it's always people like, oh, you can do this. And then, oh, by the way, it's $15,000. And you're like, I was floating, now I'm deflated, right? Like, don't let the financials of other people and what you have experienced with other people prescribe the same as me. Because you guys, if you don't know, my mission is to level up the world through education. Does it mean higher ed? Education could mean elevating, drinking your water, vitamin D, vitamin B, graphics design. I don't know, whatever that is. That is just you leveling up to whatever your full potential is, because you have a full potential. You just don't know it yet. But I will find it from you and you will get there for sure, right?
So I guess on this note, we say until we see you again. We will never say just until we see you again, because we will be seeing you again. So love everyone. I love you, Constant.
For the project, guys, thank you for submitting and believing Nicole and I can elevate you in our community. We love you so much. Keep on going, right, Nick?
That's right. Keep going.
Bye, everybody.